Hey there, wanderer. Welcome back to Sleepy Obsidian's study.
Before we drift away together tonight, gently tap the like button and subscribe if you enjoy these sleepy journeys through the stars. It really helps the channel float a little farther into. And don't worry, there are no mid-roll ads in tonight's journey. Nothing loud will interrupt your rest. Just slow stories.
So now, allow your breathing to soften. In slowly and out.
That's nice.
Let your shoulders sink. Let your jaw loosen.
And imagine somewhere very far away from Earth, beyond the planets, beyond an observatory floats silently beside a sleeping nebula.
No one remembers who built it.
No one remembers how old it is.
But every night, the observatory waits for dreamers. And tonight, it waits for you. You step through a circular doorway made of smooth obsidian stone.
The door closes softly behind you.
Inside, everything glows with warm amber light. Dust drifts lazily through the air like tiny golden stars. The floors creak gently beneath your feet. Somewhere in the distance, an ancient machine hums quietly. The sound is soft, steady, comforting,
Like the universe itself, breathing in its sleep.
You wander deeper into the observatory. Tall shelves curve along the walls. But instead of books, they hold glowing spheres.
Each sphere contains a memory from space.
A frozen storm on Jupiter. A comet passing an ancient moon. A lonely astronaut drifting beside Saturn's rings. And as you walk past them, they pulse faintly, as though recognizing you. At the center of the observatory sits a massive telescope. Its bronze frame stretches upward into darkness. The lens points toward a window larger than the ocean. Beyond it, the universe waits. Black, infinite, beautiful. You settle into a soft chair beside the telescope. A blanket rests there already, as if someone expected you. The fabric is warm, heavy, comforting. Outside the window, a galaxy slowly turns.
You notice a small switch beside the telescope.
It turns toward a distant black hole. Around the black hole spins a glowing ring of light. Hot gas and shattered stardust circle endlessly around the darkness. Orange. White. But at the center, there is only shadow. And yet, somehow, it feels peaceful, not frightening. Like standing beside a sleeping giant beneath the ocean. You continue watching. Hours seem to pass. Slow, soft, stretching like warm honey through the stars. The observatory hums gently around you. Somewhere far below, gears turn.
Old clocks tick.
Invisible engines breathe. And outside, the black hole keeps spinning in silence. You begin to notice tiny lights drifting around the observatory window. At first, they seem like fireflies, but slowly you realize they are miniature spacecraft, small enough to fit in your hand. Each carries only one traveler, sleepy, cosmic wanderers, moving quietly between galaxies. Their tiny engines glow pale blue. They drift slowly through the darkness, like lanterns floating across a midnight river. One traveler pauses beside the observatory window. You cannot see their face, only the warm light inside their ship. For a moment, they seem to wave.
And then they continue onward into the stars.
The universe feels gentle tonight. Old, still, endless. You close your eyes for a moment, and when you open them again, the telescope has moved. Now it points toward a dead star, a white dwarf, small, dense, glowing faintly like a pearl hidden beneath dark water. Long ago, it was enormous, a giant star burning fiercely across the cosmos. But now, after billions of years, only this quiet ember remains. And yet, even in its old age, it still shines, still warm, still alive in its own quiet way. You imagine sitting beside that tiny star, listening to absolute silence. No wind, only the gentle crackling of ancient starlight. The observatory seems to drift farther away from reality. The ceiling above opens silently. Past the observatory, out into the great cosmic ocean. Like calm water, you imagine drifting between the stars. Slow and peaceful. A blue nebula appears ahead. Its clouds glow softly in the darkness. Silver. The nebula stretches across light years like cosmic fog. Some will gather planets around themselves, and maybe somewhere among them, life will awaken. Perhaps oceans will form. Perhaps rain will fall. Perhaps someone will look up into their night sky and wonder if they are alone. The clouds surround you completely now. Warm light glows through the mist. Everything feels soft, weightless, quiet. The stars around you pulse slowly like sleepy heartbeats. And somewhere in the distance, you hear music, very faint, almost impossible to notice, like glass wind chimes echoing across eternity. The sound guides you toward an enormous ancient structure. A station built inside an asteroid. Its surface is covered in glowing windows.
Gardens grow beneath giant glass domes.
Streams of warm light spill into space. As you approach, the station rotates slowly, gracefully, like a sleeping cathedral drifting through the void. Inside, everything is peaceful. Long hallways curve gently beneath golden lanterns. Plants sway slowly in artificial gravity. Tiny fountains whisper quietly. Travelers rest inside hanging chairs beside enormous windows.
No one speaks loudly here.
Everyone moves softly, as though the station itself is asleep. You wander into a circular library. Thousands of glowing star maps drift through the air. A robotic librarian glides silently between them.
Its eyes glow amber.
It nods politely as you pass. As we slow down, it is natural to feel our breath move through our bodies.
At the center of the library stands a map, unlike any other.
It does not show planets or galaxies.
Or stars.
Instead, it shows dreams.
Tiny lights flicker across the map.
Dreamers beneath alien oceans. Dreamers aboard forgotten ships. Dreamers floating beside stars.
All connected quietly through sleep.
Yours. Silent.
Comets drift lazily around it.
No distress signals. Dust floats everywhere. Rows of sleeping chambers line the walls. Most are empty, but one still glows faintly. Inside rests an old traveler, still asleep after thousands of years, keeping them safe.
Keeping them
dreaming.
Perhaps oceans from their lost home world. Perhaps warm sunlight. Perhaps loved ones waiting among the stars. The ship continues drifting endlessly through the universe. No destination, no urgency. Slow and eternal. You move deeper into the vessel. Old control panels flicker softly. A navigation screen still glows. Its ancient route stretches far beyond known galaxies, towards somewhere called the Quiet Expanse, a region where stars become rare, where darkness grows deeper, where even time seems to slow. And somehow, the thought feels comforting. The ship finally reaches the edge of the galaxy.
Behind you, billions of stars shimmer like golden dust.
Ahead, only darkness, but not empty darkness. Peaceful darkness, the kind that wraps around you gently, like a blanket. You float onward, farther, slower, quieter. The universe around you becomes still, until eventually one final light appears ahead. A single lonely star, tiny against the endless black. You approach carefully. Orbiting the star is a small frozen planet. Its oceans turned to glass beneath ancient ice. Snowstorms move silently across silver mountains. Above the world hangs a ring system, glowing pale blue. And near the northern pole, there is a cabin, small,
warm.
Its windows glow softly against the frozen night. You drift toward it. Inside the cabin, a fire crackles gently.
Blankets rest beside the hearth.
A kettle hums softly, and above the fireplace, hangs a large window looking out toward the stars. The cabin feels impossibly safe.
like the end of a very long journey.
You settle into a chair beside the fire.
Outside, snow moves slowly across the alien world. Inside, warmth surrounds you. The flames dance softly. Your eyelids grow heavier now. The stars blur slightly. The fire becomes softer. The cabin quieter. There is nowhere else you need to be. Waiting patiently for dreamers. Waiting for tired travelers.
No voices. Only silence, so complete, it almost feels alive. Its body is long and silver. Its windows glow warm gold against the darkness. No tracks lie beneath it. The train simply floats through the universe as though gravity itself forgot to touch it. Inside, passengers sleep peacefully beneath soft lamps. Some lean gently against the windows. Some rest beneath thick blankets. Others quietly sip warm tea while watching galaxies drift by. No one knows where the train began. No one knows where it will end. But everyone aboard understands one thing. The journey itself is the destination. You wander slowly through the sleeping train. The tarpet beneath your feet is soft. The lights dim.
The walls hum gently with old engines.
Outside the windows, stars stretch endlessly across the void. You pass a quiet dining car. Tiny lanterns sway softly above empty tables. A robot chef polishes silver cups with patient movements. Somewhere in the distance, a piano plays by itself.
Slow notes.
Gentle notes, like moonlight falling across water. You continue toward the final carriage. At the very back of the train, there is an observation room. Its ceiling is entirely glass. You step inside, and above you, the entire universe opens. Nebulas swirl like oceans of colored smoke. Comets leave silver trails through darkness. Clusters of stars shimmer like frost. And far away, another black hole slowly turns. This one is different. Much larger. Ancient beyond imagination. Around it, circle entire stars. Whole solar systems caught within its gravity.
But from this distance, it looks calm, like a dark eye half asleep beneath the universe. You sit quietly beneath the glass ceiling. The train glides onward,
Slow.
weightless. Even time itself seems tired. But no one truly understands them.
Peaceful. The train keeps moving, forever onward, forever gentle. And somewhere ahead, beyond the last stars, beyond the final galaxies, waits the quietest place in existence. A hidden ocean floating in deep space. Impossible. Ancient. Still. Still. No moon holds it. The ocean simply exists alone in darkness. Its waters glow faintly silver beneath distant starlight. Waves move slowly across its endless surface, and resting upon those cosmic waters, there are ships, wooden ships, old ships with tall sails made from shimmering fabric. They drift silently across the impossible ocean of space. Lanterns glow warmly upon their decks. Their sails move gently despite the absence of wind. And aboard each vessel, dreamers sleep beneath the stars. You step onto one of the ships. The wooden deck creaks softly, beneath your feet. The ocean glows beneath the railings. Above you, galaxies turn silently in the darkness. A sleepy captain stands beside the helm. They smile gently, then point toward the horizon. There, far away, enormous whales drift through space. Cosmic whales, larger than cities. Their bodies shimmer with constellations. Slowly, they swim through the void, leaving trails of glowing mist behind them. Their songs are too deep for human ears, but somehow you can still feel them. Low, comforting, ancient. Let all go. Release any tension or stress. The whales pass peacefully beside the ship. Their enormous eyes reflect entire galaxies. Tiny comets orbit around them like fireflies. And as they move farther into the darkness, the ocean ripples gently beneath the stars. The sleepy captain lowers a lantern. Its reflection stretches across the glowing water forever. No storms come here. No fear. No noise. Only drifting. Only stillness. Only the soft, endless breathing of the cosmos. You lie down beneath the sails. The deck is warm. The stars above blur softly. The ship rocks gently upon the impossible ocean. Its great telescope turning slowly through the darkness.
Searching for dreamers,
Searching for wandering souls. Searching for you.
sleep now.
The galaxies will keep turning. The black holes will keep humming softly in the deep. Slowly, quietly.
Far away, beyond the snowy hills and the quiet pine forests, there was a tiny observatory sitting all alone on top of a mountain. Every single night, an old astronomer would slowly climb the wooden stairs with a little lantern glowing softly in his hand. The air up there always felt cold and peaceful, the kind of cold that makes you pull a blanket a little closer around yourself. And when he opened the giant dome above him, the whole sky would appear, endless stars stretching forever in every direction. Sometimes he would simply sit there quietly for hours, listening to the gentle wind brushing against the roof, while distant galaxies drifted silently through space like glowing rivers in the dark. And down by the ocean, there was an old lighthouse standing beside black, rocky cliffs where sleepy waves rolled slowly onto the shore. The lighthouse keeper had lived there for so many years that the sound of the sea almost felt like breathing to him now. Slow, steady, calming. Every evening he would light the lantern at the very top and then make himself a warm cup of tea while rain tapped softly against the windows. Some nights, the fog became so thick that the entire world seemed to disappear, leaving only the warm golden light of the lighthouse glowing gently in the darkness. And far out at sea, whales sometimes sang low, sleepy songs beneath the moonlight. Songs so deep and peaceful, they almost sounded like dreams floating through the water. Somewhere beneath an endless desert, hidden under ancient golden sand, there was a forgotten underground library where time itself seemed to move slower. The stone hallways were cool and silent, lit only by tiny lanterns glowing softly along the walls. Dust drifted lazily through the air like little floating stars, while old books rested quietly on shelves that stretched farther than anyone could see. Travelers long ago used to stop there to rest from the heat above, falling asleep beside the warm lantern light while soft winds whispered through the tunnels. And honestly, if you sat there long enough in the silence, listening carefully, you might almost hear the faint sound of pages turning somewhere far away in the darkness. Near the frozen edge of the Arctic Ocean, there was once a small wooden cabin surrounded by snow, soft and white. It looked almost unreal beneath the moonlight. Inside, a fire crackled gently, while an old fisherman rested beside the window, wrapped in thick blankets. Outside, snowflakes drifted slowly from the sky, spinning lazily in the cold wind before settling quietly onto the frozen ground. The world felt unbelievably still there, like everything had fallen asleep. Even the ocean moved slowly beneath the ice, making deep, quiet sounds far in the distance. and above the cabin, green northern lights shimmered peacefully across the sky like giant glowing curtains dancing silently among the stars.
And hidden deep inside a misty valley, there was a little train station where only one train arrived each night. You could always hear it before you saw it, the faint hum of the engine slowly echoing through the fog. Then, finally, warm golden lights would appear in the darkness as the train rolled gently toward the empty platform. The passengers always looked sleepy and quiet, wrapped in long coats with books tucked beneath their arms. Nobody ever seemed in a hurry there. The station master would simply smile softly and tip his hat while the cold night air carried the peaceful sound of crickets and rustling trees through the valley. And once the train disappeared back into the fog, silence slowly returned once again. Far beyond the noisy cities, beyond the endless highways, and far away from glowing streetlights and busy buildings, there was a tiny little island sitting quietly in the middle of a dark, glassy lake. Most people had never even heard of it before. And honestly, that was probably why it felt so peaceful. During the daytime, it looked simple. Just a handful of tall pine trees swaying slowly in the breeze. An old wooden dock stretching gently over the water, and a small cabin hidden deep among the forest. But at night, everything changed. The lake became perfectly still. So still that the stars above reflected across the water like tiny silver candles floating endlessly in the darkness. Sometimes the reflection looked so clear, so unbelievably calm, that it became almost impossible to tell where the sky ended and where the water began. Every evening, just as the final orange glow of sunset disappeared behind the hills, an old man living alone inside the cabin would light a tiny lantern beside the window. The warm golden light would spill softly across the wooden floor, while cold night air drifted gently through the trees outside. Then, slowly, carefully, he would settle into his old rocking chair beside the fire, with a thick wool blanket wrapped around his shoulders. And he never rushed anything. Not once.
He moved the way calm people move, slowly, peacefully, like somebody who had learned long ago that there was no reason to hurry through quiet moments. Some nights he would make tea in a little iron kettle hanging above the fireplace. The soft, bubbling water and the crackling fire filled the cabin with gentle, comforting sounds, while the smell of pine wood drifted lazily through the warm air. Outside, the forest breathed softly in the darkness. The tall trees swayed slowly beneath the moonlight, their shadows stretching silently across the ground, while tiny waves rolled gently against the old dock beside the shore. Sometimes an owl called quietly somewhere far away in the woods. Other times, the only sound at all was the faint creaking of the rocking chair as it moved slowly back and forth beside the lantern light. And every now and then, a fish would rise silently beneath the lake, creating tiny ripples that spread gently across the perfectly still water before fading back into darkness once again. The old man always noticed those little sounds because on the island there wasn't much else to notice. No phones ringing, no traffic outside, no loud voices, just silence. Soft, peaceful, endless silence. And honestly, after enough time there, the silence stopped feeling empty. It started feeling comforting, like the whole world had finally decided to rest for the night. Above the cabin, thousands of stars shimmered quietly across the sky, while pale silver moonlight spilled over the lake like liquid glass. Some nights, clouds drifted slowly overhead, covering the moon for only a few moments before moving quietly onward through the darkness. And during those moments, the island became even calmer somehow, wrapped in deep blue shadows and cold, peaceful air. The old man would simply sit there beside the window, watching the darkness move slowly outside, while the fire crackled gently nearby. Hours passed quietly on the island. Slowly, sleepily, peacefully, and somewhere deep in the night, while the forest whispered softly around the cabin and the lake reflected the endless stars above, the old man often fell asleep right there in his rocking chair, warm blanket wrapped tightly around him, lantern glowing softly beside the window, while the entire world outside rested peacefully beneath the moonlit sky. Somewhere far out in the desert, beyond the endless dunes and the dry, empty roads, there was an old train that only traveled at night. Nobody really knew where it came from, and nobody ever seemed to know exactly where it was going either. But every evening, just after sunset, its warm golden lights would slowly appear far away in the darkness, like tiny glowing stars moving across the sand. The train moved slowly, very slowly, almost like it was in no hurry to arrive anywhere at all. Inside the train, everything felt warm and sleepy. Soft lamps glowed beside velvet seats, while the gentle hum of the engine echoed quietly through the empty hallways. Most passengers spent the journey wrapped in blankets beside the windows, watching moonlight spill across the endless dunes outside. And honestly, the desert looked beautiful at night. The sand rolled endlessly beneath the silver moonlight, like frozen ocean waves stretching far beyond the horizon. Sometimes cold winds swept gently across the dunes, leaving soft patterns behind that shimmered faintly beneath the stars. Every now and then, the train would pass tiny, forgotten stations, sitting alone in the darkness. Small lanterns flickered softly beside empty wooden benches, while sleepy station signs creaked gently in the wind. Then, slowly, quietly, the train would continue onward once again into the endless desert night. And somewhere deep into the journey, as the soft rocking of the train continued beneath the stars, passengers slowly drifted asleep one by one, while the quiet desert rolled endlessly onward outside their windows. Dash, dash, dash. High above the clouds, hidden deep within snowy mountains, there was a tiny village where winter seemed to last forever. Every rooftop was covered in thick white snow, and warm golden lights glowed softly through frosted windows each evening as cold winds drifted gently through the narrow streets. At night, everything there became unbelievably peaceful. The snowfall always seemed slower somehow, softer, quieter. An old baker living near the center of the village woke long before sunrise every morning to prepare fresh bread inside his tiny stone bakery. But his favorite moments were always the late, quiet hours of the night, after everyone else had already gone home. That was when the village became completely silent. The baker would sit beside the warm oven with a cup of tea resting in his hands while snowflakes drifted lazily past the windows outside. Sometimes the wind carried faint sounds through the village, soft footsteps in the snow, distant church bells echoing quietly through the mountains, or the gentle creaking of wooden signs swaying in the cold night air. And above it all, the sky glittered with endless stars, shining brightly over the snowy rooftops below. Honestly, it felt like the entire village had fallen asleep beneath a giant, soft blanket of snow. Dash, dash, far beneath the ocean waves, deeper than sunlight could reach, there was once a tiny underwater station resting silently on the seafloor. Outside the giant glass windows, glowing jellyfish floated slowly through the dark blue water like little drifting lanterns. Tiny bubbles rose endlessly toward the surface far above, while distant shadows moved peacefully through the ocean currents. The scientist who lived there alone had spent so many years beneath the sea that he barely remembered noisy cities anymore. Down there, everything felt slower, calmer. Even time itself seemed to drift quietly through the station, like the ocean currents outside. Every evening, he would dim the lights and sit beside the giant viewing window with a warm blanket wrapped around himself, while whales passed slowly through the darkness beyond the glass. Their deep, sleepy songs echoed gently through the water. Low, peaceful sounds that vibrated softly through the walls around him. Sometimes he simply sat there for hours without moving at all, watching glowing fish drift silently through the endless dark ocean, while the quiet hum of the station surrounded him like a lullaby. And honestly, beneath the sea, with only darkness, soft lights, and distant whale songs surrounding you, it probably felt impossible not to fall asleep.